Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Chris back with you again, and today I'm with my new friend Scott. Scott, how do you pronounce your last name?
Zabel.
Zabel. And we are talking a little bit with Scott today because he has he's an avid backpacker, hiker, camper. You do all that stuff?
I do all that stuff, as well as canoe camp.
Canoe camp? Okay. So avid outdoorsman, and as you know, on these podcasts, I like to interview people who are actually out doing it while we're doing it. So we are at the Hoosier Spring hammock hang right now. And so tell me, Scott, new friend Scott,
right?
How did you get started in the outdoors? Did you do it as a kid? Did you?
So yeah, probably as many others, I started in Boy Scouts.
Nice.
Although I don't recall doing a whole lot of backpacking. I remember getting out and doing some campfire stuff and that. And then really did some camping with my parents, but that was more campground stuff. So then got married, had kids, and then bought a boat, so we started camping, tent camping, to necessitate that.
Nice.
And I really didn't get back into camping, backpacking until a few years later when we started going up to the Boundary Waters.
Oh, nice.
If you're familiar with the canoe areas up there. So there's 1 million acres in the BWCA, and there's another 1 million acres on the Canadian side, Quetico. So that's really how I got into into hammock camping, into back into camping and hiking. So
the great thing about canoe camping is that you have to mind the weight a little bit, but you can take quite a bit of stuff.
Sure.
For multiple days, right?
Yeah, and it transfers over well because you're out in the, you're away from civilization, days in for a week or so, but yes, you can carry a lot more.
That's awesome. So do you do a lot of hiking as well?
More recently, last year I did a little section on the AT. That was always been on my on my radar. 53 years old, so retirement's a little ways down the road, not sure. So I wanted to get out there and see if that was actually something I'd like to do. We used to, again, canoe camping, so I wasn't sure if walking day after day would be something I'd enjoy or not.
I understand completely. Do you have a favorite trail that you've done ever? Or are you just still trying to explore what you want?
Yeah, so I live in Illinois, and there's not a whole lot there except for crooked politicians, but there's a trail just south of me, maybe an hour, Forest Glen. It's an 11-mile loop, but it's got some good ups and downs, and it's close enough that I can get out there for a long weekend and put some miles in.
I've been over to Garden of the Gods area and all that several times, and that area I know is just absolutely, it's probably on the same plane as this area, and it's in the southern half of the state.
Sure.
I've hot tented over there. That place. You do have that place. Have you been there? I
have not. That's Shawnee, right down in Shawnee National. No, I have not, and would love to get down there sometime.
I'd highly recommend it. Do you have any bucket list items, either with camping, hiking, or backpacking, that you really want to do?
I'm still trying to decide if complete AT through hike is on my radar or not. I hear through hikers talk about how the trail changes you, and I'm married, happily married, and so I want to take that into consideration about how that might change me, the way I relate with my wife. So stuff like that I think about, but I do desire, I love being out here in the woods. So this weekends like this.
Do you think that doing 20-mile days would change you? Because I've heard that you lose a lot of weight. I've heard that, but you also you're walking through a green tunnel the whole time, most of the time.
Yeah. And
I've often wondered about that, if too much of a good thing would be
Yeah, and I think that's real, and I do have that consideration. We went in November intentionally because I love the fall.
Right.
The leaves are off the trees, so yes, we're in the green tunnel, but you could still see the mountains through the trees, and it was gorgeous. We had perfect weather. And
awesome. So
yeah, it was awesome.
Well, so one of the reasons I wanted to bring Scott on to the podcast is that he actually has invented a couple of things. He has actually invented gear out of necessity, right?
Yes, out of not being able to find, as many other cottage vendors, I'm sure, not being able to find something in the market to fill a gap that I thought was there.
Right. So tell us a little bit about the couple of things that, or if you just want to talk about the one, but tell us about some of the items that you've invented or come up with.
Okay, so lots of times when you come to a hang like this, you go home and spend more money because you see everybody else's gear set up, right? Well, one of the things that happens to me is I am always thinking of how can I do this better? There's got to be a better way to do this, quicker, faster, easier, or just different. So hammocks are pretty fiddly, if you know. So there's lots of different ways to set them up and items and such. So one of those is hanging a tarp via a ridge line that connects between the two trees.
Yeah.
And I couldn't find. I shouldn't say I couldn't find. There was a few options. Prusik knots are one of the popular knots that you can use. For me, I found that they slid. There's some other manufacturers that make hardware to do that, and I just didn't care for that process. So I set out just looking, scouring the internet, got my Google Foo on, and I couldn't find anything that fit the image in my head.
Right.
So that did lead me down a path of producing what we call namaclaws. It's a stainless hook that goes on the ridge line that you hang your tarp, and it's easily adjustable, yet locks in when you get it set.
Now it's a friction lock, right?
Correct.
Similar to a Prusik, but maybe a little more of a bite to it.
Yes. So it's a cam action, and there's teeth on the little cam. They're rounded over so as to not tear up the line too bad, but it locks in by a friction, yes, on the line.
What now? Are you actively selling these? Are you active on your site? Are you actively looking to expand that?
Yeah. So again, coming out here, I've always got ideas in my mind. There's several that have been rolling around. So we do have a website, namagear.com, that we sell them on there, and there's some. We carry some other people's products as well. We do carry some line that can be used with the namaclaws. So
is that the
Lash or Zing It?
Zing It?
Yes. Yeah. So that's the popular one. That's a 1.75 millimeter Dyneema line. So that's a popular. It doesn't absorb water. It's really strong. So if you're familiar with that.
Okay. Well, I'm going to put the link to your channel down in the description below. And actually, this weekend I'm buying some from him because I have seen them in action. And what we can do is I'll insert some. We can actually do a demonstration, and I'll insert some footage here.
Super.
So that people get an idea of what we're talking about. But I'm actually going to purchase some because I've got some uses in mind with this tarp, but also with a winter camping tarp that I use. So I'm kind of excited about that because I've got the continuous ridge line, but I need something quick, especially if you have cold hands, right?
Sure. Yeah, and that's one of the benefits. Prusiks, if you've camped in the winter time, know that they freeze up and they're hard to slide on the line. And these, I've been told, I'm not a big winter camper, so I've been told they work great in the winter time.
Okay, well, I'm going to give it to a test.
Okay, well, I appreciate it.
So I guess if you were to offer somebody, this is my other standard question I usually.
Okay. Uh-oh.
If you were to offer a newbie any advice on either gear or just getting started backpacking, hiking, canoe camping, what would be your greatest piece of advice that you would give them?
So especially for a newbie hammock camper, I would say come out to an event like this. Get with somebody who's been doing it for a little while that knows, because it's going to decrease your learning curve substantially.
Right.
What happens is you'll go out on your own and say you can figure this out, and you have a couple horrible nights in a hammock and you say, why does anybody enjoy this? So that
is so true. I was ready to give up a couple of times a long time ago, but listening to people like yourself and like Keith and just the amount of wisdom we have here, I'm picking up a lot.
Yeah, it's invaluable. YouTube, you can learn a lot from there too. So I'd say start there, but personal, one-on-one, you come out here and you get to meet great guys like Chris and others who want to build into helping others get out here in the woods.
Absolutely. So check out his site, namagear.com, and I will leave a link in the description below. And thank you for being on the podcast.
Thanks, Chris. Thanks for having me.
All right.
I appreciate it.
Always remember to get out there and explore, and we'll see you later. Peace.